Hello, everybody. Just want to take a few minutes and talk to you about our New York Jets. We're having quite a disappointing season, I'd say, but we are on the heels of 2 consecutive victories, which is the first time that's happened in about 20 games for us. All the way back to the Todd Bowles era, we have not won 2 games in a row in a long time. So we should be feeling good right about now, but that doesn't change the disappointment that we've all been feeling. The injuries, the losses, the confusion, the offensive line. What a year. But while that's happening, I wanted to talk to you about something that has quietly been taking place. One of our players is having what just might be the best Jet season for his position in the history of our franchise. And I know we're all probably thinking about this guy or that guy, but obviously who I'm talking about is Lachlan Edwards. Lachlan Edwards is the punter for the New York Jets. And even though it might be a little bit more fancy or make a bigger splash to talk about Jamal Adams or Sam Darnold or Jamison Crowder or somebody else that might be doing one thing or another, the truth of the matter is that once again, we have a relatively obscure position making more waves than some of the positions that we would more routinely think about with Jets victories, let's say. So Lachlan Edwards right now has the highest average of any Jets punter in history, 45.5 yards per kick. That's what he's averaging right now. And yes, we've had some good punters before, namely Steve Weatherford, who had a really good year in 2010, and then we decided to let him go, and guess what we got to watch? We got to watch Steve Weatherford punt for the New York Giants against the New England Patriots, the worst Super Bowl that I can ever imagine. When it was looking like the Patriots were going to be in there, the only team that could make it worse to be their opponent was in fact the New York Giants. That year was terrible for me to watch. But to make it just a little bit worse, little salt in the wound, Steve Weatherford got the punt for our New York Giants, the victors in that Super Bowl, and make it just a little bit worse for us. People saying, how could the Jets let this guy go? What a great punter this is, and blah, blah, blah. So that's the way that went. We also had Ben Graham, who, if I remember correctly, was the Australian punter who had that little trick that he would employ, which is to kick the ball from the tip, which is an Australian method. And the logic behind that was to make it harder for the receiver to catch the ball. It spun in such a way that it made it harder for the receiver to catch the ball. And maybe that did work for 1 year. Ben Graham had quite the year for us. And I think, if I remember correctly, we let him go as well. And he may or may not have gone to the Arizona Cardinals and kicked in their Super Bowl. Good stuff. So the Jets basically are a training ground for great punters. Of course, we had Tom Tupa, our only Pro Bowl punter, and he also played quarterback for us for a little bit there during one of the most painful seasons, let me call it that I've ever experienced with Vinny Testaverde going down in week 1. So, Lachlan Edwards had a great year last year. He's having a great year this year, and in the ultimate wisdom of our GM and our head coach, he was one of the players that we brought competition in for him. Not the field goal kicker that we basically have been watching a train wreck. Ficken's doing okay, but we've been watching a train wreck all through training camp in the preseason and first couple weeks of the season. But Lachlan Edwards, who was just fantastic last year and is also fantastic this year. We had a little bit of a scare with Adam Gase bringing in one of his former punters. But all's well that ends well, at least as far as Lachlan Edwards making it into our season with us. And he's having a great year. So let's see how it goes. And if he has a Pro Bowl year, the good news for the rest of the NFL is the Jets will more than likely cut him and send him to the team that will more than likely be in the Super Bowl next year. So good for you, Lachlan Edwards. We're all big fans. We're rooting for you, buddy. Keep kicking and keep watching the Jets.